Good afternoon, participants. We will be starting shortly.
Welcome, Aditi. Sweetie, will you make Aditi co-host?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Aditi. Aditi, you please check right now your co-host. Aditi, please check once again.
Aditi, you can speak. Aditi.
Aditi, will you please check again unmute option?
Aditi, you are co-host now. You can check now once.
Sweetie, do you have an option to send? I was trying that unmute request from my end. Can you do the same?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Yes.
Then he will be there. He will take up the call. He's
Aditi, can you test now?
Aditi, you give me the host permissions again. I'll just make the settings in the. शीश भी नहीं आ रहा है। Aditi, you try once now, you are the co-host again, or you just rejoin again otherwise.
Good afternoon, Good afternoon, participants. We will be starting in the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
Aditi,
Aditi.
you are audible.
Oh, okay, finally. I don't know what
Audible
was
enough?
wrong.
We will start soon, Aditi. Please wait.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Good afternoon, ma'am. Please make Ansi ma'am the host. Yeah, okay. Good afternoon, ma'am.
We will be starting shortly.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are starting with the event to manage the timing, as in charge principal madam of Nagindas Khandwala College and vice principals will be joining very shortly with us. We have director of MKES society. Madam has already joined. So to avoid any delays, we are starting with the events. I request Surbhi to kindly start.
A very good afternoon to everyone present over here. I request everyone to keep their audios and videos off during the event so that the event can run smoothly. Values are like fingerprints. Nobody's are the same, but you leave them all over everything you do. Similarly, our college anthem motivates us to enhance values in our life. So I now request Mr. Mangrachura to please play our college anthem.
दे मुझे स्वर भारती
Thank you, Umang. A heartiest good afternoon to the beacon of our college, Director Dr. Mrs. Nancy Jose, very ambitious of teaching, in charge Principal Professor Dr. Maushami Datta, ever smiling, always enthusiastic Vice Principal of Self-Finance Dr. Mona Mehta, very obliging Vice Principal of Degree College Professor V.G. Suchat, our keynote speaker Ms. Aditi Shah, ever supporting Coordinator of Department of ITCS Dr. Sindhu PM, coordinators, HODs, and faculty members of various departments, and our lovely participants. I welcome you all to this wonderful masterclass. Before we begin with our session, I request Ms. Sweetie Ma'am to please brief us about our masterclass. Over to you, Sweetie Ma'am.
Thank you, Surbhi. Good afternoon, one and all present here. I, Sweetie Garg, on behalf of Department of ITCS, welcomes each one of you for today's masterclass on the topic, A Roadmap to Building a Security Mindset. This is the first masterclass organized by Department of ITCS, keeping in mind the current need of the society to determine the necessity of security while using IT on a daily basis, which is undoubtedly eventable today. A strong security culture not only interacts with the day-to-day procedures, but also defines how security influences the things that our organization provides to others. Those offerings may be product, services, or solutions, but they must have security applied to all the parts and pieces. A sustainable security must have the culture persistent towards the environment. It is not a once-a-year event, but embedded in everything we do. So, similar is to build on the technical aspects of the security to authenticate and authorize the right values on different platforms. So here we bring this masterclass by Ms. Aditi Shah to develop the roadmap for building a security mindset. Before we proceed, I request Surbhi to kindly take the blessings of the dignitaries for the event. Thank you. Over to you, Surbhi.
Thank you, Ma'am. Now, I'd like to request our Pathfinder, our Director, Dr. Mrs. Nancy Jose, to please enlighten all of us for this masterclass.
Good afternoon, everyone. My principal colleague, Dr. Maushami Datta, Vice Principal, Dr. Mona Mehta, Coordinator ITCS, Dr. Sindhu, all other coordinators and faculty members, dear students, and my very loving and very own Aditi, our ex-student. It is so enlightening to listen to Aditi today for the masterclass. Aditi, I know her since her 11th standard. After her 11th standard, my dear students, on many occasions for orientation, I used to take the example of Aditi. She is the one who shows the way, if you are determined, how you can achieve success. In fact, she is so motivated, she is so focused, and she has achieved what she wants. And of course, I know that she wants to achieve much more, and she will definitely do it. Dear students, we are very lucky to have Aditi for the masterclass. From all odds, how you can come up in your life, she is a living example. So if you take her as a role model, I think your path for future is well driven and well written. What you can do, students, today is security in using IT. That is one thing. How can reach your security of life? She will give us, she is an example for that. So I want everybody to understand her, listen to her properly. And Aditi, I'm really thankful to you for accepting our invitation. I think you are in US, right? At present, you are in US. So the time zone difference also, she is okay with that and she has joined with us. So thank you very much. And I'm really happy for the IT department and the Students' Council for making this possible. So masterclass is a way of learning where you get what is the latest in the industry. You get to know from the people from the industry. Students, I want you people to take that masterclass seriously and learn your lessons, learn your things, what is the industry requirement, accordingly prepare yourself for the industry. And that will help you to get a better placement and to be better in life. So once again, let me thank Aditi for accepting our invitation. Let me compliment the IT coordinator and the entire team for making this day possible with a masterclass from Aditi. Wish you all the best. May God bless you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I would request our always supportive, beloved coordinator, Dr. Sindhu PM ma'am, to introduce our keynote speaker, Ms. Aditi Shah. Over to you, Sindhu ma'am.
Good afternoon, Madam Dr. Mrs. Ansi Jose, the Director of MKES Institutes, Professor Dr. Marshmi Dutta, In Charge Principal, Nagendas Khandwala College, Professor Vijay Sujik, the Vice Principal, Degree College, Dr. Mona Mehta, Vice Principal, Self-Finance Section, and our beloved Aditi, the resource person today, and all the HODs, coordinators, teachers, and students from various departments of the college. It is my privilege to introduce the speaker, Ms. Aditi Shah. It is a tough task to give a formal introduction to a very familiar person when our own person comes and sits in front of us, especially when it is to speak about Aditi briefly. So let me start with a few informal lines from my fond memories working with Aditi. Aditi was a student at our college from junior college to MSc. But I met Aditi only after she joined BSc IT. And my first experience with Aditi is I used to watch the way she solved the numerical problems, electronic problems, and etc. during the examinations because I have not taught her in her BSc. She completed her BSc and she became the university rank holder in 2013. Then she joined MSc IT in our college, and there we started interacting more. And Aditi, I had to prepare a lot more for my lectures in your class because you are having a very good reading habit, and just to stand in that class, that made me a lot of preparation. And I really enjoyed those lectures because there were a lot of interactions happening. We were sharing a lot of experience, maybe out of the reference books also. So it was a wonderful experience. And Aditi was a great support for the teachers. And especially we were starting that MSc with a revised syllabus with new technologies and etc. So it was just helping each other also, and we were getting a very good support and presentation, coding skills, and lot more. The best part that I wish to say is Aditi's project in MSc with a lot of novel ideas in it. Actually, still, I feel Aditi should publish that work also, which is not a small one. And your project's documentation, Aditi, it is still there in the college locker, and I show it as a model for the forthcoming batches also. And Aditi was a member in our first board of studies in IT under autonomy. After Aditi joined MS in cybersecurity in 2019 at Georgia Institute of Technology, Atlanta, then our interaction were limited to LinkedIn and the social media post and etc. because of the busy schedule and the difference in the time zone and so on. But I regularly read her post. Now let me continue with her professional experience briefly from her biodata. Aditi was a technical lead at Iragi Software Consultant Private Limited from September 2013 to June 2018, where she worked majorly on secure and privileged access to data center resources. Then she worked as a graduate research assistant at Georgia Institute of Technology from 2018 to December 2019 and contributed to building security features for C4G Bliss, a laboratory system used by underdeveloped African regions with limited computing power as a part of Georgia. This was a part of Georgia Tech's Computing for Good initiative. Then Aditi is associated with Microsoft for 2 years from 2020 as data and applied scientist. And she has delivered, their team has delivered 5+ end-to-end machine learning automation, started with the data analysis to building REST APIs for consuming model predictions, then developed a triad board, which is an NLP-based solution, and reduced the time to escalation by 90% for Azure Cloud critical vulnerabilities using BERT-based transformer model, build a model for dark web research automation to flag forum posts relevant to Microsoft with 85% recall and 70% precision. Built a recommender system using cosine similarity measure to identify approximately 75% of the duplicate vulnerability submissions and save assessment time. Building Azure Sentinel notebooks to model and visualize anomalies based on identity behavior using sequence prediction techniques. She collaborated effectively with the stakeholders and presented insight from security response data to answer business questions, leading the disability community effort under Cloud Security Culture Club to create inclusive workspace for employees with disability. These are the major projects she has undertaken in Microsoft. Then Aditi, it is a proud moment to tell about your publications also. You have publications in international journals and all, redesigning a basic laboratory information system for Global South in 2019, ITU Kaleidoscope, and Blind and Human, exploring more usable audio capture design in 16th Symposium on Usable Privacy and Security in 2020 are the publications. We are proud of you, Aditi, and Aditi has received Polaris Award for Innovative Ideas and Insight, Microsoft Security Response Center in 2022. Congratulations, Aditi. This is a recent achievement. And she has already got the Donald V. Jackson Fellowship for All-Round Performance, Georgia Institute of Technology 2019. Aditi, I had to cut short a lot of information due to the paucity of time because I cannot take introduction more because people are waiting to hear you more. So all my dear audience, I proudly present Aditi to you. Aditi, the platform is yours. Please take over.
Hi, everyone. I hope I'm audible. Thank you.
Yes, Aditi.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm feeling so nostalgic and just listening to Ansi ma'am and Sindhu ma'am after so long. So I'm just very thankful for being here, and I just look forward to all the opportunities when I can come back and do something for the college, because college has done so much for me. I wouldn't have been where I am had it not been for all the initial support to build the fundamentals in my life. So thank you so much, everyone. And hello, everyone who's in the audience. And welcome to today's talk. Let me just share my screen. I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes.
Yes, Aditi.
Okay. So, yeah, so just a little bit about what I do at Microsoft. I know Sindhu ma'am just outlined a lot of my projects. In short, I work for Microsoft Security Response Center. We are basically responsible for handling all the security bugs that happen in Microsoft products, getting them fixed before hackers start exploiting them. And we're also responsible for dealing with all kinds of hacking attempts on the Microsoft infrastructure, because a lot of people use the Microsoft cloud. So that's basically what I do at work. And today I want to start by saying that, as humans, we tend to always try and find communities and try to connect with people, whether it's with our friends or family or classmates or colleagues. We're always trying to create communities. And, since quite a few years, we've also become a part of this very big community, which is all the people who use the internet. Close to 5 billion people in the world, or 63% of the world population today, is connected to the internet. And when we think about our safety and security in terms of our in-person connections, we always try to surround ourselves with people who are known to us, or who we feel safe around. But it's so hard to do that when it comes to the internet. Just to give you some numbers, as per some of the 2021 statistics, about 30,000 websites get hacked every day on the internet. 1 in 3 businesses were attacked by a ransomware attack. I'll talk more about it later, in 2021. And we are all surrounded by so many of these security breaches. And the most alarming fact there is that 95% of these are caused due to human error. So how do we, get out of this situation? How do we stop being the humans who are the weakest link in the security chain? So today I want to talk about some of the techniques that we can use to really build that security mindset, so that we can create a cyberspace which is really safe and secure for everybody. And just with the number of hackers and cybersecurity incidents that are increasing, it's no longer possible that the cybercrime department or the law enforcement can keep up. So we all have to take the control in our hands, and we all have to start following some of the best practices to keep everyone safe and secure. So just before we get into that, I just wanted to give some top few cyber incidents that happened in 2021, just to explain what can really go wrong. Like, digital attacks are no longer limited to hacking someone's account, but they can really have a lot of consequences on our real physical world as well. So the first attack I would talk about is the Colonial pipeline attack. So the Colonial pipeline is basically an entity which provides fuel supply to a lot of the parts of US, and they got hacked last year, and they were hacked by a ransomware attack. Now, what is ransomware? Ransomware is a type of a computer virus which attacks one computer first, then it will spread onto all the computers in your network. And it's like a bomb, which is sitting there, a time bomb ready to blast. And whenever it reaches that particular point in time, what it will do is it will encrypt all your data. And the only thing you get to see is a message on your screen asking you to pay the ransom. Pay XYZ amount to ABC account in order to get access back to your computers. And this is what happened to Colonial Pipeline. And as a result of that, the primary artery which delivers fuel was shut. And that led to so many consequences in the US in terms of, people panicked, fuel prices went up, people started holding fuel, and a lot of that. They had to pay $5 million in Bitcoins to get access back to their network. That's one of the biggest attacks. The second one I would talk about is the Microsoft Exchange zero-day vulnerability. This is kind of very close to home for us at Microsoft. So just to explain a little bit about vulnerability, a vulnerability is a security bug or an issue in any kind of software, website, whatever you build. And basically, what happens is that the hacker would try to use the software in a way which is not intended. Like, say, for instance, they would try to, put some input which could never be expected by the software engineers. And because of this, they can gain access to the network. So now Microsoft Exchange is one of the Microsoft products which is used for mail and calendar and a lot of other internal collaboration functionality. And it's used by lots and lots of organizations all around the world. Now, there were a few vulnerabilities in Microsoft Exchange which Microsoft wasn't aware of. Some hacker discovered it, made it public. Now, the moment it goes public, hackers all around the world start trying to find examples or instances of Exchange server which are vulnerable. And as a result of this, about 30,000 companies got hacked. So basically, this is an example of a zero-day vulnerability. So the idea here is that there could be bugs which even the companies who build the software wouldn't be aware of. And that is why it's always important to be vigilant whenever we use any kinds of technology, because you never know how weak or how vulnerable they can be. The next one I would like to talk about is the Facebook account hack. I've been working a lot on the dark web research, and I see this like pretty much every day. Like, a lot of companies' data is posted for money on the dark web, like user accounts, credit card details, everything is just sold for very little money. And that's exactly what happened with Facebook. Some hacker got access to their data, 533 million users' personal data, like phone numbers, email ID, date of birth, and all kinds of personal information. And they just took a dump of it and posted it somewhere on the web and just made it public. And it's just, there could be so many connotations to this, like, people could impersonate as you because they know everything about you. And people can, lot of times your phone number is your security key. It's linked to a lot of your personal identification documents and all of that. So there's so many consequences that can happen when your personal information gets leaked. So this was like a huge example of that. Similarly, I think Domino's also got hacked. So everyone who's been ordering from Domino's, your data was out. So, thinking backwards, like, these are all big attacks and, large scale attacks, but what do we do wrong as individuals? Because at the end of it, all these things happen because someone made some mistake somewhere. And it's honestly not always the software engineer who makes the mistake. A lot of times it is users who also end up making a lot of these mistakes and create all these huge cybersecurity incidents. So the top one on the list is forgetting to patch. So I spoke a little bit about the vulnerabilities before, right? So say there are security bugs in software. It can be your phone, it can be your Windows laptop, just anything that you use. Say there's a bug in it, and now the provider, like say for instance, if there's a bug in Windows, now Microsoft has fixed the bug at their end, but it won't fix on your laptop automatically unless you apply the right security patches. And the biggest problem is a lot of us do not do that. We either forget or we are just hesitant to upgrade. And what happens is once, say, any company fixes a security vulnerability, as a protocol, they need to disclose it. So the moment a patch is out, the vulnerability is also out. So everyone in the world knows that, okay, if someone is using X version of Windows on their computer, you need to hack it in this way. So if you don't patch yourself, you're so much more vulnerable, because now even hackers don't even need to innovate how to hack. They already know what is the exact bug in the system and they're just going to exploit it. So it's very important to continuously patch your systems. And like I think Apple gives patches pretty frequently, so does Android, and so does Windows and Linux, and any kind of platform that you're using, it's very important to patch it. Plus any kind of apps that you're using, always make sure you upgrade to the latest version, because that is the most secure version out there. The second one top on the list is visiting random websites. We're just on the internet all the time, and we keep visiting so many random websites, and that makes you a very ideal target for phishing attacks. Now, phishing attacks are attacks where you might visit a website which looks very familiar. Someone could just create amazon1.com, and when you visit that, you would feel like you're on amazon.com unless you actually look at the address bar. And what would happen then? You would just end up putting your credentials, your payment details, everything over there. And as a result of that, you'll get compromised, because now they know what is your Amazon username and password. They know what is your credit card CVV. So the idea is to try and visit websites which are known to you and not click on random things on the internet, and always check which website you are on before you give away any personal or sensitive information. The next one is very well known, and it's just been around forever. Use of weak passwords. Like even today, when we look at the most common passwords, in like millions and billions of passwords that get compromised, the top one on the list is always 1234566. People still use 1234566 as their password, and it's very easy to remember, but it's very easy to break as well. So using strong passwords is kind of very important. So there's a very famous attack called the brute force attack. So what an attacker does there is just attempt to hack your password. Say I know that your password is 6 characters long. What I would do is I will try every possible combination to just trial and error and just see which password really works on your account. So having a strong password which is longer, plus has a more has more combination in terms of lowercase or uppercase letters, or numbers, or any kind of special symbols, it just makes the attacker's job so hard, right? Like they have to try so many more combinations to guess your password. So that's one. And again, talking about passwords, another big mistake people make is reuse them. So I understand that we all have so many different accounts, right? Like LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you know, bank accounts, and so many online accounts that we have to manage. And as a result of that, in order to make our job simpler, what we try to do is just reuse the same password. We'll create like one strong password and we'll just keep reusing that everywhere. And what happens is, say one of these organizations get compromised, and we know, like, it's very common to compromise organizations in the world. So one of them gets compromised, the first thing the attacker will do is try that password on all your other accounts. So it's very important that you use different passwords for different accounts. And lastly, there's a whole range of attacks that are happening called business email compromise. So you might receive an email from, say, Sindhu ma'am saying that, hey, I'm stuck here and can you send me 1,000 rupees, or 1,000 rupees is a small amount, but just any amount of money. Or it might say that, hey, you've won 10 lakh lottery, and they would ask you to just do something, click on something or download something. And as humans, we tend to trust. We're always good with trusting people, but when it comes to the internet, we shouldn't be so trusting, and be just very careful of everything, like everyone you interact with and everything that you do. So basically, like, these are some of the top things I've noticed that go wrong, and everything goes wrong from there. So talking about the security mindset. So as a security professional, I look at world very differently. And as Bruce Schneier, who's one of the most prolific cybersecurity speakers and writers, says that, the security mindset really helps us become, not just for technology, but for politics or for economics, anything in the world. It helps us become more sophisticated in terms of being a customer, or just makes us more skeptical, or just makes us less gullible. And that is so important in today's era. So the only thing you need to do to really practice the security mindset is, when you look at something, whether it is technology or anything in the world, instead of thinking only in a narrow sense, like, okay, how does this work? Think a little broader and think of how can this fail. So say you visit an ATM, right? The first thing you try to figure out is, oh, okay, where do I insert my card? Where do I enter my PIN? And all of that. But what a security mindset person would do is, they would try to figure out, okay, what if I put another card, or, say instead of a debit card, I put my business card? What would happen? Will the machine hang? Will the machine break? So really look at everything and think from both the perspectives, like, how does this work? But also, how can this not work? So just to practice that, let's go through a couple of scenarios to just practice our security mindset skills. These are very real world kind of scenarios, and I want this to be a little more interactive. I'm sure everyone's bored listening to me talk. So say you're visiting a Bollywood award party, like we watch all these Bollywood award ceremonies on the TV. So say you're visiting one of these and you're trying to look at it from someone with a security mindset's perspective. So these are the 4 questions that you should try and answer. So I just wanted to be interactive. So feel free to unmute yourself, raise your hands, and just come off mute and say. So number 1, what do you think would we try to protect at a Bollywood award party?
Can you please repeat, ma'am?
Yeah. Say you've gone to a Bollywood award party, right? What would you protect? Like, say there are all these celebrities there, right? So one, you have to protect the celebrities. What else would you want to protect?
Winners of awards.
Okay. What else? Anybody else?
Entry
You
pass.
think
Sorry. Do you think we need to protect the exclusivity of the event, right? Like, because that event is going to be broadcasted eventually on the TV, and obviously you get a lot of money for broadcasting the event on TV. So you need to protect the exclusivity of the event as well, right? Anything else you think we should protect? Okay. We also need to think about the timeliness, right? Like, we want, there's like, everyone is busy, all the celebrities, and we've gathered everyone in one place. We need to make sure that nothing else goes wrong which delays the event, right? So that's kind of one more thing to protect. Let's think about the second question. Now we know what are we trying to protect, but what about who will attack us? Like, who's gonna attack these three things? Like, one, we thought about, hey, the celebrities need to be protected. Second, we want to make sure the timing is protected, like the the event doesn't get delayed. And lastly, we want to make sure that the event doesn't leak before it gets broadcasted on television. So these three things need to be protected. Now, who is likely to attack or make these three things not possible? I can give one example. So, say fans, right? Like, there are so many fans of all the celebrities who are there. So they might try to break into the event and try and mess up things there. Anything else that comes to mind? Media? Do you guys think media would be something that would come and interfere with the event, because they obviously want to get as much gossip out of it before it gets broadcasted, right? And what else do you think? There are like 100 of you, so come on, just think about it. There's no wrong answer here, so just think about what can go wrong. Okay, say, uh, let's think, there are celebrities, so there could be enemies, right? Like, people who are famous and powerful, they have a lot of enemies, right? So we also need to think about the enemies as potential attackers during the event, right? Anything else that comes to mind? Okay. Um, and now let's think about what are the weaknesses. Like, how will these attacker get into the event and, you know do what they want to do, like disrupt the event or delay the event or leak the event or just attack the celebrities. So basically, what do you think are some of the weaknesses that might exist? One I can think of is, the security guard fell asleep on the gate. Um, Can you think of anything else? Like just think from, say you are a fan, I don't know, some celebrities there, like Katrina Kaif is there in the party and you want to meet her, you're a fan, what would you do to get in?
Disguising as someone?
Sorry?
Disguising as someone
Yeah,
else.
impersonating somebody, right? Like you might just um, act like you're Shah Rukh Khan, but you're not. But you'll just dress up like him and put makeup like him and haircut like him, and you'll just walk like him. Try to impersonate so that the guard who's not really checking properly wouldn't figure out. Anything else that comes to mind?
Using fake entry passes.
Yeah, using fake entry passes. That's a good one.
Fake media.
You can act as a fake media person. That's a great one. All right. So now, okay, we know these 4 weaknesses now, right? Like 1, the security guard is not there or is sleeping. 2nd, can impersonate some of the celebrities. 3rd, you replicate or you steal someone's entry pass. And the 4th one is you act as a media person. Now, let's think a little bit about how would we defend. So we know what is going to be attacked. We know who is potentially going to attack. We know how they can attack. Now let's think about how can we defend. So say the first one, right? Like the security guard is sleeping. What can we do there? We can put in place some electronic system, right? Like drones. Okay, that's a good one. Or some kind of a barrier which wouldn't let people in unless they're let in, right?
Biometric.
That's an amazing one, right? Like that helps us with the person who is also impersonating. Like say someone is acting as Aditi Shah, but they're not Aditi Shah, so their fingerprints or their iris wouldn't match that of Aditi Shah, right? So that's one. What else? What would you do about the media? Would you just make sure that you know which media person is coming and you'll also give them the entry passes and put their biometrics in?
Putting some kind of scanning code in their ID cards.
Okay.
So we can identify.
So barcodes, right? Barcodes or QR codes or something like that in their entry passes. So I'm not trying to come up with a foolproof solution here, but I'm just trying to show that this is how you think about security. This is how you think about anything. It could be a technology or it could be any other product that you're trying to buy. But when you think about any scenario from all these angles, it gives you a much broader perspective on the situation. Let's do one more. Very simple one. There's a parked car. Okay, a car in a car park or a garage. What do you think can be stolen?
Ma'am, can you repeat your question?
There's a parked car, right? A car, just any car which is just parked on the road or in the garage. What do you think can be attacked? Like what can happen to that car if there is a hacker or just a thief around, what can happen? What should we protect when it comes to a car?
Lock.
Lock. So first we are thinking about, okay, what are our assets, right? Like what can be stolen? So one, the whole car can be stolen, right? Because they can sell the car and get some money, or they can just reuse the car. What else can be stolen from the car?
If a key is present, then a key can be stolen.
Key can be stolen. Say if it is my car, it's Aditi's car, so Aditi's laptop can be present inside the car, right? Or, any the owner's belongings can be present in the car, so that those can also be stolen, right? The car is standing, the thief is not able to steal the car, but there is petrol in the car tank. Can that be stolen as well?
Yes.
Right. So now let's think about who is likely to do this, right? Like who would want to steal things? So the obvious one is a thief who wants the car for money.
Enemies too.
Enemies too, right? Like say someone wants to kill me, so they'll tamper with the brakes or they'll just disable the airbag, right?
A jealous person.
A jealous person. Wow. Yeah, we're also creative. Anything else that comes to mind? Okay, moving on to the next question, like what are the weaknesses? So somebody already mentioned the lock, right? So the car lock is very easy to pick. So maybe they just break the lock and get in. Someone mentioned keys. So someone can just steal the keys. What else? Like how can someone get into the car?
Maybe the glass.
Yeah, they can break the glass. The car windows are pretty fragile in that sense. Someone can easily lockpick. Yeah. Okay, so these are different weaknesses that can be exploited, right? Like one, the glass can be broken, the lock can be picked, the keys can be stolen from the owner. Now, the next question is, how do we protect, like how would we defend against all these different scenarios? So what kind of defenses would we need? Like, okay, someone can break the glass easily. Do we put like shatterproof glass on the car? Or these days there are car alarms, right, on most of the cars. What else comes to mind?
Or to park the car in a parking area.
We make an application.
Go ahead. Which application?
For accessing features of cars. Example, Tesla have features like.
Or we can get notified if someone breaks into the car, SMS or anything.
Yeah, we can have notifications. We can have a tracking device on the car. We can have CCTV cameras in the car park so that we can see if someone's tampering. We can go very extreme and we can have electric shocks. Anybody who touches the car without unlocking it will get a shock. So we can go as wild as we want, but this is basically how an attacker thinks or a security professional thinks when it comes to security. And this is what we should think when it comes to our security on the internet. So again, the same questions. What can happen to us on the internet? What do we lose? Like what can be attacked? For me, my privacy is most important. So my personal details can be leaked. What else? Social media, account identities. What else? Bank details. We lose all the money. Right? Our credit card numbers, our debit card numbers. What else? we can lose our friends too. If someone hacks our account and starts impersonating us, we can lose our friends too. Like they'll just go fight with our friends and then we lose our friends. We can lose our jobs, right? We're someone hacks and does something to your work, or like your students. So maybe someone comes in and deletes all your notes. You can lose your 1 year of education, or you can lose so many of your efforts. Someone deletes your projects, right? So there's so much to lose. Thinking about who would attack you, right? Like why, while we know there are big hackers out there who attack all the big companies and governments and all of that, common people like you and I also get attacked here and there. So there are different things, right? Like one, they're trying to attack someone big, but we are just collateral damage. Like, for instance, there was a very famous attack that happened called the Mirai Botnet. So Mirai, what they did is they somehow managed to get a virus onto lots and lots of IoT devices. So IoT is basically, all our smart devices like our um, Alexa or Google Home, or other smart fridge or smart TV, or all kinds of smart devices. And basically, they used these to then launch a very big attack on companies or government websites, and all of that, to bring those down. So clearly, we can be collateral damage. And also, like we discussed in the previous two scenarios, we could also be attacked by our enemies, like even though we are all teeny mini people in when it comes to the much bigger world, but um, we could also be attacked by someone who has personal grudge against us. We could be attacked for monetary reasons, right? We could be attacked for resources. Like these days our resources get stolen, so there's this whole thing about crypto mining. So cryptocurrency is generated when you run certain algorithms for a long period of time, but obviously running the algorithms requires a lot of resources. So what they will do is they will start running some side process on your computer, and basically that will keep running the algorithms in the background, and you wouldn't even know about it. The only thing you would notice is, oh my god, my laptop is suddenly very slow. So there are all these different reasons why people want to attack you. Now, what are the weaknesses? We already talked about this, right? Like we don't patch our systems, we use weak passwords, we reuse passwords, we click on random links, we trust email communications from random people. So these are all the weaknesses. And now let's look into some of the defenses. So first thing we can do is use strong passwords and passphrases. We already discussed that a little bit. So try to use longer passwords, use a combination of a lowercase, uppercase, digit, and a special character so that the attack surface becomes broader. Second one is use two-factor authentication. Two-factor is basically after you put your username password, there is another factor of authentication, which, the most famous one is the OTP, right? That is a two-factor example. But honestly, SMSs can be intercepted easily. So I would recommend use another form of two-factor, like we have these Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator kind of apps. So use those app-based, token-based two-factor authentication. Then install the latest security updates. So we discussed about the patching. So always have automatic updates turned on, or just make sure that you always are on the latest version of the OS or the applications that you use. Then next one is make online purchases from secure sites only. So even if say gamma.com is giving you 50% discount, if you don't trust the website, please don't go shop there, because you might not get your product and you might just lose all your money. Keep your privacy settings on. This is very important for everyone who uses social media, right? A lot of times we unconsciously reveal a lot of information on social media. Like, you might just post a picture and you just forgot to remove your badge before taking the picture. So now not you just did not reveal how you look, but you also revealed where you study and some other kind of what is your unique identifier, student ID for your educational institution as well. So try to be very conscious about who you're sharing with and try to be as restrictive as possible. So just your near and dear ones are the only ones who should know. Don't try and make things too public. Some more. Practice safe browsing. So again, do not visit random websites. Think twice before you enter any private information. So there's this lock icon on the browser, which indicates if the website is secure or not. Or alternatively, you can make sure that there is HTTPS in the address bar before. So it's https://amazon.com. So basically that also kind of tells you that it's secure. When I say it's secure, it means that all the conversation, all the communication that you have with amazon.com, it's all encrypted. So nobody in between, even if there's a hacker who gets access to that communication, they cannot see what was being exchanged. So your financial information, your username, password, everything remains secure. So everywhere you're entering a password or entering your financial details, just make sure you are on a secure connection. Make sure your internet connections is secure. So, we love going to cafes and we love using public Wi-Fi, but unfortunately that's not secure. So whenever you have to do anything sensitive or personal or confidential, just make sure you are either using your mobile data or you're using a secure Wi-Fi connection. Next one is delete unwanted apps from your phone. So your phone basically can have so many apps which again can be vulnerable, especially like Android. We have so many free apps on the Play Store. So just make sure that keep the app on your device only if you really need it, because you never know what permissions you might by mistake give the app, and the app might get compromised and you might just lose all the data on the phone, or someone could just sneak into your conversation. So make sure you only use apps that you need, and if you don't use an app very frequently, try to use it from the browser rather than installing the app. And lastly, we are all fans of a lot of chatting and conversation, especially because we're all stuck at home. So make sure you use something which has end-to-end encryption, like WhatsApp, Signal. So so that not just any attacker, but even the companies who hold that data cannot pry into your conversations. So pretty much this. I hope that wasn't like too taxing and boring, but I sincerely hope that you would follow some of these practices and just ask those 4 questions. What assets can be attacked? Who can attack them? What are the weaknesses that can lead to the attack? And lastly, how would you potentially defend against those? So remember to think about those 4 things wherever you are. And, right now you're students, but wherever you end up working, regardless of you're a technology professional or not, it's very important that we all build this security mindset so that we all can live in a very secure digital cyberspace and potentially a metaverse. So yeah, thank you so much. I look forward to any questions if you have.
Ma'am, I have one question.
Mhm.
Ma'am, as you said that in WhatsApp we have to do end-to-end encryption.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I am not sure that I have done that or not. So how can I?
So you don't do that. It's WhatsApp which provides end-to-end encryption.
Okay.
So end-to-end encryption is basically, whatever say you sending a message to me. So the message will get encrypted on your device and it will only decrypt on my device. So everywhere in between it stays encrypted. So it's a feature that WhatsApp provides.
Okay, so we don't have to enable something, no?
No, you don't have to enable it.
Okay, okay.
You
Thank
just have to make sure you use apps which provide that feature.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Ma'am, I have a doubt about why Windows are giving a Windows 11 free.
Windows 11 for free.
Huh?
Yeah, because we want people to use Windows 11, right? So it's basically Microsoft is no longer like monetizing out of um, like the OS model. It's more like subscription model now. So the idea is that we give free upgrade to people who have been using Windows 10, for instance. Anything else?
Participants, any more questions?
Ma'am, can we say WhatsApp is really end-to-end encrypted? Because if some officials can get the passkey for our chats, then how can we say it is really end-to-end?
Yeah, there's a whole process. Like I would say it's not that easy. They need to have a warrant and all kinds of things for them to get access. Plus, I would really argue between law enforcement does need access sometimes because what we see is a very small percentage of the internet, right? Like there's a huge section of the internet which is the dark web and the other shady parts of the internet where a lot of wrong things happen. Like child pornography, for instance, is a big crime that happens primarily through internet. So it's very important for law enforcement to be given access to catch those criminals, because as we put in all these privacy controls, it's becoming harder and harder for the cybercrime professionals to catch the criminals. So as we protect our privacy, we are also protecting the criminals. So I personally feel that somewhere that window has to be there. But I think if the company promises, they more or less keep their word, because like Facebook just keeps getting penalized, right? They got penalized for $5 billion by the Federal Trade Commission a couple of years back. So if they're not following what they're promising, there's a lot of checks and balances in place, and they do get penalized. Anything else?
I think those were all the questions.
Okay, perfect.
Hello, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Okay, one by one. Go ahead, please. One of you.
Shivang, you can ask your query.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, as nowadays all the things are connected with cloud, like for example, our WhatsApp chat backup is also, it stores on cloud, the Google Drive. So if in case the whole, is it possible that for someone to corrupt any database or Google Drive? For example, this big basket, the online this vendor few years recently, the database had got hacked, and many of the revealed all the passwords were revealed, the credit card and bank accounts, all the everything was revealed. So there are any chances that
Yes,
it might get hacked.
everything can get hacked, right? Like um, that's what we do. Like every company, not just Microsoft, like Google, everybody has a huge investment and a lot of people on board to protect their infrastructure, right? Like we protect the Microsoft cloud, which is called Azure. So basically everything can be hacked, but it's just that um, the companies do it in a very sophisticated way to stay ahead of the hackers. So that's why there are like many layers of security in bigger enterprises. So the likelihood is less, but it's not null. So yeah.
Ma'am, is metaverse bad for the environment as it will separate people from the real world?
It's kind of a personal opinion. Again, this can be subjective, but um, everything is good and bad, right? Like technology has been good as well as it's been bad. Like it just has increased our likelihood of being attacked so much more. So with every innovative technology that comes in, um, it's gonna have good and bad sides. So it's really up to us how we use it and how we make sure that we don't lose our in-person connection and our in-person values while also embracing all the new emerging tech that's out there.
Like it would become a huge distraction.
I think there's enough distraction even right now. So it's really up to you, right? Like what you um, use it for. Like metaverse is going to be useful for a lot of good things also. Like even right now at Microsoft, we are building augmented reality technologies with which expert doctors are able to, help operate on people who are in very remote parts of the world. So it can be used for a good cause also, and it can be used for gaming, which can be distracting. But yeah, it's a good way to have fun too. So it's really a trade-off between everything, but we should decide how we want to use it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Uh-huh.
ma'am, this question is related to this metaverse only. The FB announced that once their AI supercomputer will be ready, it would be the world's best till now in fully fledged. So nowadays AI computing is even Microsoft has, Google has, India's own Param has been launched again. So down the line, 10 years as a IT industry expert or as you are in this field, how do you see it? Will it take down jobs or is it boom or bend for this industry?
I think so. Quantum computing is going to be huge. Whoever gets there first is probably going to rule the world. But um, so basically, again, it it's not really like when I think about AI, like I've been doing artificial intelligence since a couple of years, and I've built a lot of automations out of it. But I do feel that what AI does is frees up humans from doing those mundane, repetitive things, right? Like those things which you can start doing subconsciously at some point because they're just so repetitive. So it gives you an opportunity to skill up and do some more analytical tasks. So yes, it's going to take away some jobs which are very um, just very repetitive but less skill required kind of jobs, but it's not going to take over the world or anything. It's just going to be there to help people become better versions.
Okay, thank you.
Ma'am, will the employees get microchipped in the coming years as the big companies are going ahead? Like in some of the companies, employees are getting a microchip.
No, I don't think so. It's a lot of that is just rumors. Yeah.
Participants, any more queries?
Yes, ma'am, I have one.
Yeah, please carry on.
Yes, ma'am. As ma'am, in this modern era, everyone is using social medias. So, hacking is possible for in the Facebook or Instagram platform.
Yes, it happens every day.
Okay.
So one of the things that companies do, like you know, they pay bug bounty. So they pay a lot of money, millions and millions of dollars, to just give an initiative to the hackers to find the bugs, but not misuse them and disclose it to the companies and get paid in return. So that is kind of one way companies try to stay ahead of it. But yeah, you can never stop people who really want to cause um, any just issues or anything. So yes, hacking happens. Um, so we just need to accept that fact.
Yes. And ma'am, if our phone or anybody's phone is been tracking, so how that person can know that someone is viewing his activities around the phone and all?
So that is an excellent question, right? So what you need to do is really make sure you only have the apps that you need, and you need to keep checking the settings, right? Like both Android and iPhone give you the opportunity to allow specific permissions to specific apps. So say for instance, Facebook, if you're not using the calling feature on Messenger, you don't need to give it access to your microphone, right? So make sure that you go into each app settings and just give the access to only the features that it needs. So especially like camera can be something that's running in the background. So just make sure that you don't give access to your camera to, just every single app or apps that you don't trust.
Participants, just a second. Our Vice Principal, Mona ma'am, has just joined. I would request our very charming and admirable Vice Principal of Self-Finance, please grace this event with her leading words.
A very good evening, all my faculty members, Sindhu, the coordinator, ITCS department for organizing masterclass, and I think dear Aditi Shah. It's so nice to see you, Aditi, and I think you're speaking on a very important topic. And I'm sure everybody has learned a lot from it. I wanted to hear you, no matter what happened today. I wanted to hear what you have to share with everybody, but I'm glad I could at least make it till the end. So Aditi, I wish you all the best for the future, and please keep on coming to the college whenever you can. And with online available, we are just what we can say, a Zoom call away. So thank you for being with us, and thank you, Sindhu, and the entire ITCS department for arranging this event.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. You can continue with the question and answer round, Sindhu.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
And at this point, I just convey the message from our in-charge principal, Professor Dr. Maushmi Datta. Ma'am got busy with some of the official commitment, unavoidable commitment, and she has sent a message that she won't be able to join, but she has conveyed her best wishes to the event. So thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Participants, are there any more questions?
Ma'am, one question.
Yes, please continue.
Yes. Ma'am, if I'm installing any applications on my laptop, so Windows 10 has not that notification that something has been installed or is been installing, right? It even shows pop-up that install from Microsoft Store, and we have to click allow from different sources. So nowadays, Pegasus spyware is in highlights. So I guess that it has also been installed on, let's say, Android mobile phones or any systems, computers. So does Windows as a OS give it permission to run directly, or how does it work?
So it
Windows
won't.
had security patches, and also why doesn't it stop it or just tell you this is silly file, remove, delete?
So Windows comes with an antivirus called Windows Defender, right? So basically, the idea is that the malware can get detected, but obviously attackers keep changing, the file signatures, and just they keep tweaking the malware in a way that it can evade detection. But again, it's just an arms race between hackers and between security professionals. But yes, and honestly, nothing gets installed on your computer unless you actually install it yourself. So you can be vigilant at your end that you don't install things which you don't know come from an authorized source. So if you stay vigilant at your end, you'll always be safe.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Aditi ma'am. It was a very interactive masterclass. I hope everyone has grasped lots of information from this particular masterclass. I now request Ms. Vishakha Bhadwema to please propose a vote of thanks. Over to you, Vishakha ma'am.
Thank you, Surbi. Firstly, good evening to one and all who are present here for today's masterclass. On behalf of Department of IT and CS, I take this opportunity to propose the vote of thanks to those who have contributed to make this masterclass successful. Firstly, I would like to thank our ever supporting management for providing us with the platform to conduct such webinars. I thank our MKES Director, Dr. Mrs. Ansi Jose Madam, for always motivating us to come up with new ideas that help us grow. I would like to thank our in-charge principal, Professor Dr. Moshmi Datta Madam. Even though ma'am is not there with us here in the session, she always encourages us to do new learnings. I thank our Vice Principal of Degree College, Mr. Vijay Suchak Sir, and Vice Principal of Self-Finance Section, Dr. Mona Mehta Madam, for being the guiding light and helping us whenever needed. I extend my gratitude to our keynote speaker for today, Ms. Aditi Shah, for taking out time and sharing your knowledge on one of the most interesting topics, that is security. With many websites being compromised on daily basis, it is important to have a security mindset, and that is what we learned today from you, where you explained us the different scenarios, and I saw different students taking part in it and thinking about it. And so thank you for coming here, and we wish that we hope to see you in the future as well. My sincere thanks to the faculty members of various departments for taking out time to attend the masterclass, and I appreciate the efforts of the faculty and student team for organizing this event. Last but not the least, my heartfelt thanks to our student for the active participation. Thank you all. Over to you, Surbi.
Thank you so much, Vishakha ma'am. I request all the participants and teachers to please turn on their cameras so that we can have a geotag. Glory, can you let us know if you are done with the geotag? Thank you, everyone.
How are you, Aditi? How's everything going on with you?